You hit record. You play it back. And for a second, you don't recognize the voice you're hearing. It sounds thinner, higher, almost like someone imitating you badly. Your first instinct is to blame the microphone, the app, the phone speaker. But the real explanation is stranger than that. Because the voice you hear every single day, the one you think is you, was never the version anyone else has ever heard. Here's what's actually happening inside your skull. When you speak, sound travels to your ears in two completely different ways at the same time. One path is the normal one. Your voice leaves your mouth, moves through the air, and enters your ear canal like any other sound. That's air conduction. It's identical to how you hear a friend, a song, a car horn. But there's a second path, and this one only exists for you. As your vocal cords vibrate, the sound also travels backward, straight through the bones and tissue of your skull, directly into your inner ear. This is bone conduction. And it happens only when the sound source is inside your own head. Dense material like bone carries low frequencies more efficiently than it carries high ones. So by the time that internal vibration reaches your inner ear, it has been enriched, deepened. The bass has been turned up, in a sense, before the sound ever registers as hearing at all. Your brain doesn't process these two paths separately. It fuses them into a single voice, a blend of the thin, accurate air version and the warm, bass-heavy bone version. That blend is the voice you've heard every time you've spoken since you were a baby. Thousands of hours of feedback layered on top of each other until your brain built a permanent internal model of my voice. A model that is, quite literally, impossible for anyone else to hear. A recording strips away half the equation. The microphone only captures air conduction. No skull, no bone, no bass boost. What comes back through the speaker is the version everyone else has always heard. The one that was true the entire time. Your brain has no memory of that sound, so it treats it as new information, unfamiliar, almost like a threat. This is where it gets interesting, because psychologists have looked closely at why that unfamiliarity feels so uncomfortable, not just unusual. In 2013, a team led by audio researcher Silke Paulmann at the University of Essex studied how people react emotionally to hearing their own recorded voice compared to hearing it live. Their participants consistently rated the recorded version as less pleasant, and in some cases actively described it as embarrassing, even when outside listeners rated the same recording as perfectly normal. That gap matters. The discomfort isn't really about sound quality. It's about a mismatch between the self you've built in your head and the self that exists in the world. There's a name for this. It's called the mere exposure effect, first documented by psychologist Robert Zajonc in 1968. His research found that people develop a preference for things simply because they're familiar with them, not because those things are objectively better, just because the brain has encountered them before and stopped treating them as a threat. You've heard your bone-conducted bass-heavy voice for your entire life. Every conversation, every thought spoken half under your breath. That version is comfortable because it's familiar, not because it's accurate. Your recorded voice, meanwhile, has none of that history behind it. Your brain hasn't logged the hours. So even though it's the more truthful version, it registers as unfamiliar. And unfamiliar to a brain wired for pattern recognition often gets misread as wrong. Now here's the part that reframes everything. This mismatch isn't just about voices. It's a small window into a much bigger fact about how you experience yourself. Almost everything you think you know about your own appearance runs through the same kind of internal distortion. Your reflection in a mirror is flipped left to right, something you've stared at daily for your entire life. So it also feels correct, even though nobody else ever sees you that way. Photographs show the unflipped true version, which is part of why people so often say they look strange or unfamiliar in photos. The same complaint people make about recordings of their voice. In 2008, researchers Theodore Mita, Marshall Dermer, and Jeffrey Knight at the University of Michigan tested this directly. They showed people two photographs of themselves, one true to life and one mirror flipped. Consistently, participants preferred the mirror flipped version, the one that matched what they were used to seeing. Their friends, shown the same two photos, preferred the true, unflipped image instead, the version they actually recognized. Two people looking at the exact same face. Two completely different preferences, both correct from their own vantage point. So the voice on the record